Hi there, hello. Welcome back to the Best Start Guide. It is day 27. I already collected the login last night because I was impatient. This is a guide where I promise to play for an hour every day, and so far I have uh, not been good on that promise on the wrong end. I mean, the idea was I was supposed to cut down on my playing, but then that first session was 2 hours. The second session was 2 hours. After that, I kind of got it down to an hour, but man, this is a huge time sink, this game. Huge time commitment. And here we go. I, uh, I'm going to build Sun Wukong today. It's on my list of priorities. We got we got Shaman to 40. Maybe I'll put in I don't know. Maybe I'll put an Armiger for now. Uh, I've also filled out the training pit, the sparring pit. I find this is the most useful way to spend gems basically after you've unlocked the mine. So here's what I've done with the gems. This is even kind of before we get to today's stuff. I'm gonna 6-star Sun Wukong today. I'm gonna 6-star him like pretty much right now. But with the gems, just in review. And I'm gonna do a proper the first month in review. I'll do that on the 30th. But for now, in review, the first 800 gems went to Kale. Then uh, some of it went to the market, and it kind of pretty consistently went through the market. Then I spent the gems on the mine with a small detail of holding off on spending gems because I got distracted by the Zenogre Blade Master uh, event. But I'm back on track. I'm not going to get distracted by other events anymore. And then the ring. And this is the last one that I think you really need to spend your gems on. I'm not going to fully upgrade them either because I don't want to hover over the account the whole day anyway. It annoys me to no end that they stop leveling with each level and you have to come in and click on something. I really wish Plarium didn't do that. I wish they treated it like, the Pokemon games where he's just going to level until max level. There's no reason to get me to click on a little confirmation thing with every level. Come on, guys. Come on. So we can check in. Is this going to put us over on energy? What is going on here? What is going on? We got silver. Silver's all right. But here's where we're at. I have enough food, just enough food to get Shaman, who I'm unlocking. And here's the reason I'm sacrificing Shaman. She is not a fantastic reviver. Honestly, she's got one revive. It's on a 5-turn cooldown, even after you book it. The increased crit rate, I mean, it's all right, but there's much better bonuses out there. This isn't a particularly good buff removal either. There's just better champions at everything, and even if you're thinking, okay, well, what about Faction Wars? There are two better epic revivers in Faction Wars, and if you happen to pull either of them, and I got the better one, I got Tagore. Where's my man Tagore? So I got Tagore. This guy is going to be my faction reviver for the orcs. I do not need shaman. And maybe normally I would keep shaman anyway just to fill out the faction because it's not like I don't even know if I have enough orcs. But I want that Sun Wukong and I want it now. Now let's do one last check. I'm just going to check for orcs. How many do I have on the account? Oh, two. So I'm not even filling out the faction. Okay, I thought I had Galek. So basically, I mean, we can fill out the faction at some point with, a bunch of war boys. War boys just as good as any other orc. Just ask Mr. Burrito Slayer. He will swear by war boy, his 6-star war boy that he made. So here we go. I'm gonna upgrade the rank right now. I made sure to get other food for them. So we're gonna feed all these dark elves into shaman. And we're going to upgrade Sun Wukong. We got an actual chicken. We got her. She's basically a chicken. I'm trying to remember what gear she had on. You know, I don't care. Just remove it. Whatever she had, we'll probably sell it, but I actually need to sell stuff anyway. So here we go. He is 6-starred. I also got to complete this quest. Oh, I clicked on it so fast it didn't. There we go. So we need to still make silver as well. I'm not necessarily going to do that right now because we still got the better part of 3 days to go after it. But now that we got our 6-star Sun Wukong, we've even got potions to ascend, but I might hold off on that just for clan versus clan, even though I hate having to wait for clan versus clan. It's so dumb. So dumb, guys. But it is what it is, and it's not like I have enough potions to fully upgrade him anyway. In fact, maybe I want to make sure we do. It's not even a spirit day. Opens on Monday. Monday is the day before CVC. So I gotta remember. I gotta remember to get Sun Wukong stuff. So maybe I'll put a little note here just for myself. It'll be Spirit Keep Monday, day before CVC, which means Tuesday we're gonna be like book Sun Wukong, probably Jamarsa, and maybe Tagore. I'm not sure which one of these two I'm gonna book first, but I gotta book these two epics first. We also got a really fantastic epic to help with Fire Knight, and it actually helped me push Fire Knight somewhat. And what did we reach? I reached Fire Knight 10. We can beat Fire Knight 10 using, and I guess I put somebody, oh yeah, it was using Armiger. But this dude, Brimeblade, he is really a lucky pull from the other day. I'm really enjoying him. Apothecary is, of course, also a huge carry. And what's going on at the portal today? Same thing as yesterday. It's, I think, Harima and a bunch of other stuff, and then they got a champion training tournament coming up tomorrow with Harima, which is interesting. I mean, not a lot of people have Harima. I don't have Harima. I don't have her on any of my accounts, and I don't know. I don't know about that, guys. What do you guys think of that? Let's stay on track. So we 6-starred Sun Wukong. That's it. And this is why I write stuff down. I mean, if I hadn't written this down, I'd have completely forgotten about this, even though I want to do this. So I want to do a little bit of a humble brag about my Diabolist. There are also a couple other champions too. I'm just really happy with their gearing these days. This is Kale's gearing. It hasn't really changed since last time I showcased it, but these are his total stats. He's got 3,000 attack, and he's got 161 crit damage on top of his 67% crit rate. Now, I have thresholds I want to reach. I would love to have his speed reach 200. I have his speed reach 200 as far as I'm concerned. That's his end game gear. Like, I may end up with better gear at some point, but it'll probably be on a more nuky champion than even Kale. I'd probably be happy with 200 to 220 speed. Just a little more speed. Accuracy would need to go way up. But that can happen when I get an accuracy banner, which I don't have right now. I don't think I have one. I could check. And the crit damage as well. Is this a crit damage amulet? It isn't. So I want a crit damage amulet. I want an accuracy banner. So that's res. It at least has speed on it. But I think I probably wanted to give this to Spirit Host rather than Kale. Although I may not 6-star speed Spirit Host. So this defense, defense, attack. This is crit damage. And I did consider this, but the accuracy goes even further down. So I'd like to see an accuracy banner before I really commit to a crit damage amulet. Also, I suppose we could go accuracy on the chest, but right now Kale really is the main nuker. So attack percent on the chest has to be it. And in the most endgamey of setups, I'd probably even go for attack percent boots if I had enough speed substats to get myself to 200 speed. So that's kind of an endgame, lofty, wistful way that I want to set up my Kale. For now, we got Sun Wukong. We're gonna need to improve his gear at some point. I might put him in Savage just because if I can get the damage up on this one, the Staff of Wonder, this attack will ignore 50% of the target's defense. So you're ignoring 50% defense. Savage would be another 25%. And finally, we'll go after his masteries and we'll get him Helm Smasher. And he's going to ignore 100% of defense 50% of the time. It's a completely crazy nuke. It's against a single target, but basically the damage that hits everybody else is reflected by the amount of damage on the initial target. So really, you just need to hit that 50% and you do ridiculous amounts of damage with that move. It'll just wipe out the enemy party most of the time. So that's another goal. But I wanted to show off Diabolist. I got her speed cranked up again. Last time it was 220. This time, check it out. This is what happened when they dropped the speed event in Dragon. So I went after Dragon hard because there was a tournament going on anyway. There were points that I thought I'd need to acquire anyway for the Zonogre soul. I have dropped out. I am not worried about that soul anymore. There's just no way I'm going to get it. But I'm really happy I participated in that event because we got a lot of speed gear. So all the best speed gear on the account goes onto Diabolist. She's at 246 speed. If I can get any kind of banner on her that has speed on it, I think one of them does. Yeah, this accuracy banner with speed on it. Once I get her to 6 stars, and she is going to get 6 starred because she's absolutely worth it. She's just going to get even faster. So she'll be at above 250 speed by that point. She'll also gain a little bit of speed on her base stats just by getting to 6 and being fully ascended. So it'll be nice to see what her speed cranks up to. And that means, of course, Apothecary also graduates to faster speed. He's in the fastest Relentless set that I've got. So he gets to get extra turns. And he's still at 202 speed. And he's got 50% crit because of these crit rate gauntlets. They can even be improved even more. These could be rolled all the way up to, I believe, 40% when I have the silver, which I currently don't. Silver is such a problem in this game, guys. It is, the struggle is real, but it maxes out at 40%. If you can get a 6-star gauntlet, you can max it out at 60%. Ultimately, on nukers, he's not a nuker, so I'm often content to just focus on speed and then just round out his crit rate with the gauntlets. But on nukers like Kale, you really want to get that crit damage gauntlet and then get the crit rate on other little things. So like this crit rate gauntlet, this crit damage gauntlet, I'm sorry. It's not ideal. Ideally, I'd like to see a crit rate somewhere on the substats, and then on the substats everywhere else, you fill out the crit rate. It can be hard, and honestly, I'd say the average crit rate on a piece probably needs to be something like 15% to really get it. So you can see, like going through this one, this is the only one that comes close, the chest piece. That's the only one that comes close. If you could get roughly 15% on every single other piece, the other 5 pieces, then crit damage, I think you'd even want to get it on, I think you want to get it all on all 6, come to think of it. But if you can get enough on your 6, you want the crit damage gauntlets. This is the absolute best. You can go for attack percent on an attack champion. It doesn't scale quite as well, but you can do that. On defense-based champions, I actually like going for defense percent because you just make them really tanky instead of doing crit rate on the gauntlets where you're just losing a chance at another big stat that's going to give you bigger numbers. Anyway, that's enough That's enough on that. Aside from that, I don't think any of these others are too much of a flex, too much of a show off. This is the best regen gear that I've got, and that's not particularly good. I mean, these are 3-star speed boots. There's definitely better stuff than this out here. So when I get better stuff, it's gonna go on him or it'll go on Jamarsa. There's also a challenge going on, and hang on, I wanted to show off this guy. I decided to put Neldor, that's his first name, Neldor Rhineblade, in my next best set of Relentless. So he's still running at 150 speed. So I'm running him in the Fire Knight team. We could do a Fire Knight run. I think I wanted to do Doom Tower today, though. That's the third thing. Oh, and Arena. We're gonna do some arena fights. It's been a while since I showed off the arena team. The arena team's nice and fast. Doesn't always win, but it's nice and fast at this point. So it's perfect for farming. So we'll do the arena team, then we'll come back and we'll do some Doom Tower, and maybe I'll do a Fire Knight team as well. I might even do one now. You want to see one now? You want to see one now? I want to do one now. So he's got attack percent on the gauntlets. That's not really important. Honestly, I took these because of the speed. He's really just there for the extra hits, and also I wanted to make sure he had enough accuracy to land his debuffs. So it's particularly good if you can land his debuffs on the Fire Knight because he's got decreased attack. He's got decreased speed. Both are great debuffs to hit the Fire Knight. If the Fire Knight takes turns and he's under decreased attack, you're less likely to die. It's very important. And I haven't even bothered sending him for this, even though I really, really want to get on this. This is going to be super fun. So this is a thought for the future. And I don't want to spend too much time on this guy because I got lucky and pulled him. He's just like a random epic that I randomly pulled. But if you happen to pull this epic, man, he uses his default ability whenever somebody else uses a freeze. And there's a campaign farmable rare that I'm filling out the Guardian ring right now with. And his name is Greybeard. This dude. And if we go to his kit for a minute, he has an AoE freeze. Normally, it's pretty hard to get freeze onto a champion. There's a frostbite set and a frost set, and it inflicts freeze when you get hit. But you can't be proactive about your freezes. And this way, he has 25% chance to place freeze, and it's all enemies. So that's a 25% chance on each enemy, and it goes up to 40. You can bring it up to 45 if you give him the Fearsome Presence Mastery. He has other stuff in his kit too, right? Like he's got a Provoke on his A1, 50%, 60, 70, books to 70, but with the Mastery it gets to 75. And with the Fearsome Presence, with the Fearsome Presence, sorry, brain fart, the Provoke gets to 75%. The Freeze gets to 45%. There's just good synergy with that Mastery. Anytime you're using any of the crowd control ones, Provoke, Stun, Freeze, there are others. I don't know why I'm blanking on the others right now. Sleep. I mean, it's on the sheet. Who is it that I really want to get that with? We've also got Hoskarol. He's good with stun. But basically, if you look at the mastery sheet, it lists it. This is Fearsome Presence. It's stun, sleep, freeze, fear, true fear. Yeah, that's what I was forgetting. I was forgetting all the fears. And sheep is on the list. So, good synergy there if you're doing one or two of the crowd control buffs already. You want to just add that in. I mean, honestly, with Neldor, because he's got a 30% chance of freezing. And he doesn't have any of the other crowd control stuff. But if I wanted to get him the Fearsome Presence Mastery, or if I want to, on any champion where you want to get the Fearsome Presence Mastery, you'll often want to consider giving them another subset, or maybe even two, that also take advantage of it. So we could put them in a provoke set or in a stun set, and then you get more out of it. But anyway, let's do a Fire Knight team, and then we'll go to Arena. Oh, they're also doing Ice Golem, and you can get Cursed. Cursed is a really interesting set because it adds Hex, which can just add to the overall damage. It might be worth it to push Ice Golem. So I might leave it farming on Ice Golem just because there's an event going on. There might even be some good rewards for it. It's like I said, I'm not going to worry too much about events, but while they happen to be going on, this is a pretty good set, really. Honestly, I'm going to go after the Cursed just because it's a 3x. The 3x on speed from Dragon really paid off. Let's go after the 3x on Ice Golem. That's cool. But I just want to show off my Fire Knight team as it is. So we managed to push to 10. We can go over the presets as well. This is where they're at. So at this point, Apothecary, he's got 202 speed and he can score extra turns. I just have him do whatever until here, where I turned off his heal. I noticed last time I did this in front of you guys, I noticed that he was using a soothing chant a little too often, and I didn't like that. My Apothecary's not even booked yet, and once he's booked, he might start throwing these soothing chants around even more frequently. I don't want him to do that. I want him to just do his 3 random attacks as often as possible. He's just going to keep that shield down. We don't really have enough turn meter control to control the Fire Knight right now. The best that we have is Armiger. We could also try to bring an Elf Guard, who's got even better turn meter control on her A2, but she can only do it every other turn, and even then only when she's booked. So right now, we've got Armiger with his crit rate of 89, which means he's not even doing it 100% of the time. You've already got a 3% chance of missing with just about anything that requires accuracy. And in addition, he's missing an additional 11%. So I'd say this 89% might be more like an 87%, but it can be helpful. He can drive down the turn meter by a little bit. And then Neldor, I have him favor this one, which does 4 hits. So he's got the largest number of hits, but even his A1 is good. And this is only 2 hits. I'd probably turn it off if I had any other way of landing decreased speed, but I don't. So I really want to land that decreased speed on the Fire Knight. He's got enough accuracy to do it. He's got a speed of 150. Armiger's speed could definitely be better. My God, that's terrible. Here I was saying humble brag. This isn't. He needs better gear. Armiger needs better gear. He'll get some love. I promise. Tagore needs to be faster too. But Kale, I'm happy with Kale. Apothecary, I'm happy with Apothecary. So let's do one Fire Knight run. I didn't even show all the presets, did I? With Kale, I basically turn off his area of effect by the time we hit the Fire Knight, just so he doesn't use it. It's a single hit. There's no point in doing it. He wants to use his Quadra Shot as much as possible, to land as much poisons as possible, so when the Fire Knight takes a turn, he's not gaining health, he's actually losing it because he's drenched in poisons. So that was pretty fast. We got through the waves in 15 seconds. It's not bad for Fire Knight 10. And this is a very good affinity for Kale, because he's got 67% on his crit rate. But you get an extra 15% just because you have the affinity bonus. And then you get an extra 15% on his area of effect attack. So that's why he's able to nuke the waves so well, so consistently, despite only having 67% crit rate. So Tagore isn't even necessarily the best for this, but I have Tagore for the safety. He's the only champion that I have right now with an AoE revive. Jamarsa will also have that when I summon her during CVC. Maybe I'll even put that on the notes. I mean, I got Jamarsa here already, so that's kind of implied that I'd be summoning her during CVC. But let's just add ZBM. We're going to be summoning her too. We definitely want her. So We'll move on to the arena team next. I promise. How are we doing for time? 24 minutes in. Dang, that's not a good sign. We might still be able to make it through with these three. I mean, Apothecary is really fast. But anyway, this is why we have a Reviver. We might actually have time to see that revive. Come on, Tagore. You have one job. There it is. There they are. It's too bad he revives them so slow, though. They get revived with a nice little shield. So there's kind of a chance. The shield is even based off Tagore's HP. Well, this is embarrassing. I thought this team was more consistent than this. This could take a lot longer than 2 minutes. I also no longer have anybody with heal reduction. I had Rocktooth, but I think I fed him. No, come to think of it, I don't think I did. I think we still have Rocktooth. Maybe he'd be better than Armiger just for the consistency of landing heal reduction. Rather than poor Armiger, he's not going frequently enough to be scoring his turn meter reduction. That's the big problem. So I thought, consider me humbled, guys. You're watching me realize in real time that I've made a mistake with this team. I'm wondering if there is any way that we get this back. But the Fire Knight he's just hitting us too hard. I mean, Apothecary might get lucky and get an extra shot so that we could get stuff done, but you know what? No. I don't see it happening. He keeps getting back his turn meter. We're defeated. My apologies. So I'm going to improve this team. Maybe I want to improve this team now. I just wish I had more silver. But we can look at we can look at what we got. I did some farming yesterday. What did I even get? Oh, it was campaign farming. I'm still farming, we'll select shields. I'm still farming campaign, trying to get additional copies of Spirit Host just to fill out the Guardian Ring. So I'm farming area 4. Here, Armiger, you can just get in here for now. I am trying to fill out it's here. I'm trying to fill out the Guardian Ring. When I can, it'd be nice to have extra Spirit Hosts, so I can just fill this out, get the extra accuracy. Even just the extra accuracy, I'd probably be happy with. I don't care about the extra 3 speed. It's probably negligible. The 10% defense, also probably negligible. The big ones for Kale, I think, are attack percent and accuracy. That's what I really want on him. That's what's really going to help. It's probably a negligible amount of stats. I also wanted to go after demons. We've got none. And maybe that's what I should be doing in campaign, because if I'm going after demons, at least I'm getting the best experience return. Whereas going in Durham, it's not the best experience return. I just really, really so badly want I want to be doing the best Kale that we can. This is called the best start guide, and I'm trying to make the best starter. You can't have a best start guide without a best starter. So I want to do my best with the starter. And I've said this before, that I think Kale is the best to choose as a starter, but I don't think he's necessarily the best starter overall. Just the best starter when you start, if that makes sense. Because he's got the poisons, which fills one extra requirement that you need when trying to do everything. He's also pretty good in the arena, but so is Elhain. And honestly, you could probably make the same case for Ethel, since she can self-buff. But let's go to the arena. We're talking about the arena. Let's go to the arena. So, I'll do a little refresh. Any easy ones? I'd love to just go after the easy ones, obviously. So this is a really fast team. We're using Sun Wukong as the lead, so he's got a 28% speed lead, And then we got 400 and, sorry, not that fast. I have never had a champion over 400 speed before. I know there are people out there that can do it. I am not one of them. My main account, my RB, is not over 400 speed. But with Sun Wukong and Diabolist of her 246 speed, the team runs very, very fast. And we could also run a team with Apothecary as well. Um, I had a lead here. I used Skink. We ate Skink. And I had a magic oriented team. I could put in this guy, come to think of it. And we're just taking advantage of speed here. Um, yeah, honestly, Tagor's probably a good added fourth to the team because like a Thel would be good. Elhain, we've got her somewhere. I guess she's in the vault. Would be good. We even have a Galek now, come to think of it. But really only if there's 6. Otherwise, I'd like to toughen up Tagor. It'd be fun to have an all magic team for the arena. This helps whenever you have the advanced quest where they're like, do an arena fight with a single affinity. And these guys, I mean, look at the way this team is running. We're just lapping them. Like Diabolist took 2 turns before they did anything. And this can help you in arena too. If you don't have the damage, but you have the speed control, coming in with 2 speed controllers that are both above 200 speed. Toward the end game, this is like the requirement, right? You're required to have a bunch of champions that are above 200 speed. But at this juncture, most of the other players you're fighting, they don't have speeds that are really fast enough to keep up with this. And even Tagor is putting increased speed. I'd quite forgotten that, but that's kind of a funny little ad. This is overkill. I mean, we've got increased speed from him, increased speed from her, increased speed from Apothecary. We're almost certainly better off with some other stats. But it's nice to have a Reviver, because we're doing a Reviver versus Reviver kind of thing. Honestly, I'd rather just nuke her out quickly, though. But it's still kind of fun to have the speed superiority. But anyway, I think probably the best farming team. I mean, it depends. If I can max out Tagor, this team would be better because this team has at that point a tough reviver who could just keep everybody healthy, keep everybody getting back up. But this team, this is for just straight up speed nuking. You got to watch out when you're doing your speed leads because if you make them too much faster than your other champions, you might have a speed booster that isn't even letting the nukers catch up because she's too much faster. Or maybe another way to put this is you want to make sure your nuker, say in this case Kale or Elhain or whoever you've got, has enough speed that they don't end up getting cut off by an enemy team. You want to tune your team properly. You want to speed tune your team so that if your Diabolist has 200 speed, that Kale is coming in with at least, I want to say 170, so that the 15% extra turn meter boost catches him up. Diabolist is a little bit easier to run as one than as opposed to say somebody like Apothecary, because Diabolist also turns down their turn meter, and Deacon Armstrong does the same thing, right? So if you started with Deacon Armstrong, you basically have a Diabolist and War Maiden love child. Why am I struggling to find him? There you are, buddy. I love this guy. I mean, he gets that extra turn after filling turn meter 15%, decreasing enemy turn meter 15%, and then he goes into this decreased defense on everybody. This is War Maiden. This is Diabolist. And he gets a free turn, so it's a free Diabolist War Maiden. Ultimately, this is what you want for Arena, right? You want a guy that's like, you know what? I fill 2 roles. I'm going to do them both. And you have this guy and you have him equipped just right. He's also the aura lead, so it's even like he's got the Spirit Host aura lead. Mind you, he doesn't have the increased attack. But anyway, I didn't start with Deacon, so I'm gushing about a champion I don't even have. But if you happen to have started with Deacon, if you took the Deacon code, kudos, good for you. You chose a really solid epic. Honestly, if you're not going to go with Sun Wukong, Deacon is maybe the one to go with, if not Mordecai for those HP burns. But anyway, I said we do Doom Tower. I got some secret rooms unlocked now. I reached a stage in the Doom Tower where I couldn't really progress um, by leaving it on auto. I don't know if I could manual my way through it, but we can go back to the Doom Tower, and you know what we could do? Because Sun Wukong could maybe use just a couple of levels just to make sure his stats aren't so terrible. Maybe we'll put 4 brews into him and just boom. His stats jump a couple thousand points in his HP. His attack got a couple hundred better. His attack is really good now because I gave him. Oh, I chose the blessing, by the way. I chose Lightning Cage. And here's my reasoning for choosing Lightning Cage. It gets attack plus 500. That was an important criteria. And there aren't really a lot of good blessings that increase attack. And I needed to make sure we got the increased attack. But the Lightning Orb means when the enemies buff themselves, I get these Lightning Orbs that will then protect my buffs. And this is great for Sun Wukong because he's got this move right here. Now you see us, where he steals all the buffs from enemies. So enemies are placing buffs. He's gaining those Lightning Orbs. And then he goes and he steals them all, and they're going to be protected by the Lightning Orbs. So there's great synergy there, in addition to the fact that he's got an extra, it's here, his total stats. So he's got this extra plus 500. So that's bringing his attack to 2,000. I'd love to crank this up to at least 3,000 so that he's kind of on par with Kale. Right now, his damage is it's kind of embarrassing that I have a legendary who's being out damaged by Kale, but that just goes to show how good the starters are. The starters have good stats. The starters have good abilities. The starters are awesome. This is why you max your starter first. That said, let's go to the Doom Tower. I want to try to do the secret rooms. I also want to show off the Griffin team. So let's do this first. I don't even know if this is still the best team for Griffin. I think this is just my general Doom Tower team. Yeah, I only have one Doom Tower team right now. I didn't even bother switching it up. Kale's job is to do damage. Hoskarol's job is to do crowd control. We got more damage coming off Shield Guard. We've got some speed boosts and heals coming off Apothecary, and Sun Wukong's job is to also do damage, to steal buffs, to do a little bit of crowd control as well. Sun Wukong does a little bit of everything. At this point, I'm even tempted to switch up some of the people in this team. Although it's hard to switch them up because we don't have a lot of high-level units yet. Honestly, this is the best of most of it. Hoskarol, I mean, if I'm running him on auto, to be honest, maybe it's easier just to run somebody like Tagore to have a little more consistency. I mean, he's going to be able to revive our people. Let's try him out. And you know what? He completely should have been the lead because he has a 25% HP lead instead of leading with Kale. So yeah, that's a bad choice. I'm quitting out right now. No, because I will forget if I don't do this immediately. Nope. Here, team setup. What is going on today? So we're gonna have them switch places. Tagore has the better aura. This is the way I want to do it. And go. If you find you're consistently winning, you probably want to switch to an attack aura, but I really just don't have a good attack aura. Rathalos has one for dungeons, So I will frequently use Rathalos to lead in the dungeons. But here, I mean, Kale's reaching enough damage to do this threshold. This is not necessarily the best stage to be farming long term. But the Griffin drops materials for the Guardian set. And we're going to use the Guardian set to make some tank champions. Some tanks that can just soak up some damage in place of the other champions to help them stay alive. So Tagore, we want him to stay alive because he's the party reviver. He's already got regen on himself. But to make things even better for him, we probably want to be placing Leech on the enemy. Zenobia Blademaster. Zenogre Blademaster. Maybe I'm just going to start calling her Zenobia. That happens to be her first name. We're going to make that canon. Her name just happens to be Zenobia. So if I say Zenobia, you know I mean Zenogre Blademaster. So Zenobia has the Leech, which is going to help everybody stay alive, including the Reviver. You can then put somebody like even Sun Wukong, or there's another rare that we have. So anyway, this is the resources that we're going after. I'm going to take a slight detour here, and I'm going to talk about this gear at the Forge. And this is another thing we're going to wait until CVC, because we've got a bunch of gear we could gear up, we could build. Also, when you're lacking on silver, which we actually are, you can craft a bunch of stuff and you could immediately sell it off, and you sell it for profit, which is handy. But this stuff, Wear absorbs 10% of all damage from allied champions and heals by 10% every turn. So we have a couple of champions that this would be really good for. For example, Sun Wukong, we're not afraid of him dying, because anytime he dies, it's not there, it's here. Anytime he dies, he gets back up after 3 turns. So that's really handy. He's that much likelier to die, and if you make him slow, he comes back with full turn meter. So he might not even be at full turn meter when he dies from an area of effect hit, and he ends up taking 10% extra damage from all of the other champions who would otherwise be taking the damage. So you're that much likelier for all the other champions in the team. Let's just imagine it was these guys. So they're that much likelier to survive. This guy's that much likelier to survive. And this guy will get back up with full turn meters. So you're manipulating a lot of the little rules to help your team get a little bit better. In terms of the damage, I don't know that the Guardian set would be the best for Sun Wukong's damage. So this is just an idea. I'm probably not going to put Sun Wukong in the Guardian set, but I do have a champion that I probably am going to put in the Guardian set. And we could even just search for him this way. But it is Master Butcher. It is this dude. I want to build this guy out, want to get him with a lot of HP. And right now he really doesn't have it, but he has this passive. No, this is actually gravy. Revives a random ally when he's killed. So that's another added bonus. But it's just this. This doesn't work on bosses. But basically, if you're in the Doom Tower and you're fighting waves and you're taking lots and lots of damage, you put him at the back of the party. And particularly if he's in a Guardian set and he's taking even more damage, he's just pumping back every bit of damage he's got on a 1-to-1 ratio. Master Butcher puts out more HP for the rest of the party than even the likes of Vogoth, who is a rare and coveted epic from the Undead Hordes. So we'll go to him for a moment. Where's Vogoth? So Vogoth has it as well. Yeah, that's actually handy. Places a leech, but it's this one. Whenever he's attacked, it heals the allies by 50%, whereas Master Butcher is doing it by 100%. All of the damage he's taking, he's giving back. If you have a Vogoth and a Master Butcher, just consider your party invincible. And these can be things that can help you stay alive. So Master Butcher probably needs to be on our list of 6s. Honestly, he's one of the few rares that I'd say is worth taking to 6 stars just because of how absurdly useful he is. He can help you survive once you're dealing with the likes of Bommel, who isn't showing up yet. People that are brand new are not going to see Bommel yet, but man, when Bommel shows up in the Doom Tower, You guys are going to feel that. So then you're going to want somebody like Master Butcher or Vogoth combined with the set that you can farm from Griffin. So that's all I got to say about that. But here's the first secret room. So what's the damage? What is it? This is rare champions only. So as luck would have it, that's what the account is anyway. So we got some speed controllers. I would love it if we had some stun. This guy is super duper frail. But I put him in a stun set and he has an area of effect on his A1. And I'm wondering if that's going to be enough. We've even got Grinner as a reviver. We could also bring in War Maiden or Spirit Host because of what they can bring. It's tricky. Let's just bring this guy. His is the only aura that helps in all battles. So this is Doom Tower normal. We have a 6-star Kale. That's the only 6-star in the party. He might have the damage to do this. No, he really doesn't. So we want him to do his A1. I'm not going to bother with a preset. He only got a single stun. That's probably par for the course, really. I don't even have room for the Fearsome Presence Mastery. But I don't know how well we're going to do in this secret room. We could also try to get somebody like nice and tanky in a shield set to try to keep the weaker people alive. But we may have to come back when we have our first 5 rare champions. I am going to build Apothecary. He's definitely worth taking to 6. Diabolist, probably worth taking to 6. So that's 3. War Maiden also. So that's 4. Is there anybody else offhand I can think of who will take to 6? I probably will take Abyssal to 6, honestly. He could probably even function as a campaign farmer. Abyssal is really solid. I've even got a blessing on him. I didn't actually pick a blessing for Abyssal, but he's already dead. We can see if Kale can handle the damage that we need to do. He does have lifesteal. That can be useful. I think I even stripped some of the gear off Grinner. Yeah, I'm not even seeing Grinner regenerate his own health. So Grinner should be in regen, but I guess I took my best regen and I put it on Tagore. So far, so good. I think Kale can do it. I think just having a 6-star Kale can get us through the first secret room. I don't know what the other secret rooms are going to look like, but I did want to see if it was possible to get to the first secret room just right away. We did this on the last rotation too, right? If we can beat this secret room, I guess we'll know for sure. There are good champions to acquire from the Doom Tower. The secret rooms are well worth doing. If we can get the first secret champion, it's epics. They're all epics at the normal Doom Tower level. For hard Doom Tower, that's where you get the legendaries. And there's some really good legendaries. They're going to be very hard to acquire at first. But wow, we got it. So here is Archmage Helmet. We've got 3 fragments, 6 total. So we've done 2 secret rooms ever. It's going to take an awfully long time to get this guy. The way that you really want to do it is you want to get to the point where you can do many of the secret rooms. Secret room 2, what do we got? Force champions. So this would be a good reason to bring Rathalos Blademaster and War Maiden. So we can prioritize these 2. I'd even like to prioritize this guy. He's really a solid champion, and I'd love to get him running in conjunction with freeze champs, particularly Greybeard. I don't know if we have anybody else with freeze on the account right now. Come to think of it, bear with me. I'm going to do a quick little search just of everything we own. Who else has freeze? Which is, of course, the Snowflake. So, oh yeah, okay. So we have Preserver as well. This is the one that came in free with the code. Which code was it? I think it was I Love Raid. The I Love Raid code gave us a free preserver. Is she a good freeze champion? Um, where is the freeze even? It's on her A3. 75%, books to 100%. So she's got a guaranteed freeze on the A3 on a single target. I mean, that's not great. You basically have to pick somebody in a wave. I don't think there are any bosses that you can freeze. So really, this is of limited use. So I don't know about Preserver if she's worth bothering with, but you have the 100% chance to freeze. When she does that, you can then have Neldor Rhineblade bring in his A1, and he's doing the random hits. So the first one, presumably, actually, let me read. When an ally places a freeze debuff, this champion has a 30% chance to attack the target with their default skill. Now this is 3 times at random, so it means the first hit would be against the target that's already frozen. So they're already frozen. Freezing them again against the Fire Knight specifically on hard Fire Knight, that's turn meter damage. So that means that's better. That means you get another chance to do turn meter damage, and I think each one is a freeze. So basically, each time you get this 30%, 40%, maybe 45% proc, you get a bunch more chances at turn meter control just off Neldor every time you get a freeze on the hard Fire Knight. That's kind of more of an endgame consideration. The consideration here is for waves, but the second and third hit at random are going to be a random target. So they're not necessarily going to be the frozen champion anymore. So you might get her to hit somebody with a freeze, and then he might randomly freeze another champion or two. So you can get some really good crowd control out of that. Greybeard, I think, is the more practical choice, though. He attacks all enemies, and he's got 25, 30, 40, and with the mastery, he could have a 45% chance to freeze, which when you're hitting an entire enemy wave, it's almost guaranteed someone's going to freeze. And then this guy's going to come in, and it's almost guaranteed someone else is going to freeze. You might get super lucky and just freeze everybody between the two. So I want to build a freeze team. That's something I want for the future. I'm even going to put this here. Later. Freeze team. This is just a want. I think this would be a completely busted, overpowered crowd control thing. This will probably help with the Doom Tower. So I'm going to be using freeze just because I have a champion that's really good with freeze. I might even do this in concert with, where's Hoskarol? With this dude, because even though he doesn't do freeze, he just works a lot with stun. So you've got a good chance of stunning enemy waves. This book's all the way to 75. Not the best stun in the game, but a really good stun. He's also immune to it. And he can also remove stun from your party. So it's this guy'd even be really good at honestly at clan boss. I've mentioned this before. This guy might make the clan boss team just because he could be the stun target, and even outside of that, he can cleanse other champions that get stunned. So how are we doing on time? I've been talking 53 minutes. Time really gets away with me here. But if we look at the list of things to do, I think we actually made very good time. I covered what I wanted to cover. Came up with some ideas for some later videos that we're going to do. But I do want to do Clan Boss. And you know it'd be nice. It'd be nice to get the extra damage off Sun Wukong. So it's time, I think, to start farming Minotaur. Because with the extra masteries, particularly with Helm Smasher on him, and I might even hold off on farming masteries for now, just because I can probably level several champions together while doing Minotaur. I don't even know if I have a proper Minotaur team set up. Minotaur Labyrinth, where are we? 10. Yeah, we were just doing those 3. It's not a proper team or anything. But who needs masteries? I mean, I have every intention of 6-starring him, so he totally should be in here. Honestly, Tagore would be a good investment. There's also her. She could get even more speed and stuff like that. And you know what? I have these lofty expectations that I'm going to be able to 6-star Shield Guard. And really, I love Shield Guard, but it's difficult to justify uh, putting all that work into Shield Guard because there are just too many other champions that are probably going to supplant him, like Tagore, but we could leave him in for now. He is going to be part of the strategy. I mean, this is a particularly poor affinity matchup for him because I've got a Spirit champion. I got 2 Spirit champions. We got Sun Wukong as well. But the very lowest level of Minotaur, and that's what we really want to be doing. The lowest level of Minotaur is Void. So at that point, you can bring whoever you want. Whoever you want to be your main damage dealer, that's who you bring. On my main account, I have a solo farmer in Leorius. Beanie. Beanie managed to pull Leorius in the early game, so he's probably going to turn him into the permanent solo farmer. Some content creators will swear by using Shield Guard as the solo farmer. So we could use him for that, but honestly, I'll probably just continue to use Kale, because Kale is already fully built. He's stacked. He's a perfectly adequate Minotaur farmer. I think with the right gear, he'd basically never die when soloing the top level of Minotaur. It looks like we're absolutely fine at this level. But we may reach a point where he's hitting us just a little too hard. So we could always 2-man or 3-man. Sun Wukong is another champion that I hear a lot of, not necessarily just content creators, even people in my clan are like, oh yeah, I use Sun Wukong as my Minotaur farmer. So that's point 1 for the Skinwalkers. There's just so many good ways of using Sun Wukong, so many good ways of using various other Skinwalkers. Skinwalkers is maybe the best faction, particularly once you get those legendaries. But even the rares. Greybeard, I've gone on and on about him in this episode. I'm probably going to build Greybeard, just because of his potential for crowd control in the Doom Tower. We have limited chance of doing that. We got Hoskarol, we got Greybeard. And basically, between Hoskarol, Greybeard, and say, Neldor Rhymeblade, that's a really good set of crowd control for the Doom Tower. Then I'd probably just round it out with Kale to do some of the damage, some of the poisons, and either Jamarsa or Tagore to keep everybody alive if I'm having particular trouble keeping everybody alive. Possibly both of them. I mean, who says it has to be an either or, right? We've got Tagore, we've got Jamarsa coming, and thank you, by the way. Again, whoever it is my guardian angel that helped me get Jamarsa. I still don't know who that is. If I were to take a stab in the dark, I would guess it's you, Mr. Burrito Slayer, but I got no idea. So whoever it is, thank you for that. Maybe we'll run. I'm not going to make you guys watch me push Minotaur. For now, this is the team that I would use to push Minotaur. We'll see how far these 5 can get. I'm happy to be getting scrolls for all 5 of them. That's the thing to watch out for. The scrolls are random. So the 5 champions that you're putting in here, you better want scrolls for them. Like, I want them on Diabolist. I want them on Apothecary. I want to get Apothecary to 6 stars so that I can get Giant Slayer. No, it's Masteries. So that I can get Giant Slayer on him. Anybody that's got 3 hits on their A1, this is awesome. So I get Apothecary onto the clan boss team, and he's going to be scoring even more procs than Kale, or maybe the same number. It's hard to say because here, look, let's go fight the clan boss. It is time. Demon Lord clan boss. we get to see what our rewards are. So we got the top chest from normal last time, and the Demon Lord went down. So garbage, probably garbage. HP percent, okay, that's not bad. We could probably put this on one of our shield set champions. And we got the top chest here. Accuracy on the chest, and again, boots, flat HP, yuck. I have had the worst luck. I swear on my main account earlier this morning, I I logged in and got my chest for hard and I got a void shard. I don't know what is going on this account. I don't know why we're having the worst luck, but we are just having the worst luck. Um, Here, I'll hit normal because it's instantaneous. And just see if this makes any damage with Sun Wukong being a 6. The thing is, like, he's against the wrong affinity. Yeah, I mean, he's really not carrying much right now. He's against the wrong affinity. That's point one. And point two, being at level 20, that's honestly probably still a little bit worse than being a 50 at 5 stars. But he's going to get better once his level gets maybe beyond about 30 or 35. Once he gets his masteries, that's something I can work on. I can just leave it farming. Um, I think there is one last thing I wanted to talk about. I'm gonna quickly go back here. I like to keep an eye open for any speed sets that might show up. At this point, there's not a lot else that I really care about. Crit damage, nah. Speed, eh? That it's just a 4-star lifesteal weapon. I mean, we're so low on silver. No, 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 Gavin. So here's where we're at with the challenges. Oh, we got this. We'll just take it. So now all we got to do is upgrade a Force Champion to rank 6, and then when we got 460s, we could just kind of clear campaign with them. So we're 2 champions away from doing this. One of them needs to be a Force then. That one champion will probably be Rathalos Blademaster. Unless there's anyone else that's obvious. Neldor Rhineblade might end up getting maxed. He is a really solid champion. I don't know if he's going to be maxed. I don't know. War Maiden probably will be. Honestly, she is a goddess among rares. She's great. Her decreased defense, which can be booked to a 3-turn cooldown. So at some point I might just go after more War Maidens, or maybe when we start to randomly pull them from ancient shards, if we're ever lucky enough to have a number of ancient shards. Um, I mean, I might even splurge on the books. Honestly, we have 18 books, but these are probably going to go into Apothecary. That probably book Sun Wukong. Um, yeah, Apothecary. We definitely want Apothecary. Uh, who else from the rare category? I don't know. We'll figure it out later. We'll figure it out later. How are we doing for time? We've already gone over an hour, but I wanted to talk about challenges just briefly. So these are the artifact ones. This is the last one on this account. Challenges or champions, we're at sheet 5, so we can take our time with this because there's nothing left. There's nothing we need to boot it to. This is just gonna vanish once we get this last Lego book. Dungeons, same thing. We're just doing the final of the dungeon ones here. Arena, same thing. This is the final frontier. This is probably the last one we're going to do because this involves getting to gold, which we're not reaching yet. And something kind of holding us back even is I put a single War Maiden in defense, but I think I swapped her out for Diabolist. Just basically because I wanted to flex. She's not going to win any fights on her own, probably, but she might end up lapping the opponent. Like she'll just come out with one move, do another move. I'm just sort of showing off. It didn't have to be her. It could have been anybody. Um, but once we're serious, we'll put a serious defense team in, and we'll start pushing for a higher level of arena. But that leaves the artifact challenges. So these can be so tedious and dumb, but I did these yesterday. We got the 4-star or higher chest piece from hard or higher Kirok Castle. And it's the same thing with the boots and the gauntlets. Then we could equip a support champion, and somebody has to reach 30,000 HP. This is a threshold that might be a lot harder to reach. Right now, it's probably, I think the best base HP is on a tour, and even he is really far from the mark. Like, I'd probably have to at least 5-star him to get anywhere close to it. And even then, I'm going to need some better HP percent gear to push us through that. But anyway, that's the status report on that. Um, that's all of that's it. I'm done. Thanks for stopping by. See you on the next video. Take care of yourselves.